I would like to welcome everybody to Stackable Credentials in Cloud Computing. My name is Dan Whitaker, and I teach network technology here at the Community College of Baltimore County. In this session, we're first going to do an overview of cloud computing just to see what is cloud computing. We will then look at careers in cloud computing. We will then look at stackable credentials in cloud computing, and then I will open it up to Q&A at the end. We are on a tight schedule, so I ask that you hold the questions until the end. So let's get started. Stackable credentials in cloud computing. What is cloud computing? Well, the simple definition of cloud computing is using the internet for computing. If you are sending an email to somebody, then you're doing cloud computing. If you're purchasing something from Amazon.com, then that is cloud computing. So let's look at cloud computing first from the point of users, you and me, then from the point of organizations. Let's start out with cloud computing for users, and that includes us. Now, all of us here use email, and that's a perfect example of a cloud application, and everybody knows what the World Wide Web is. And I know everybody here uses regular desktop applications such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, but I'm not too sure we're all in agreement on what is a cloud application. So let's look at cloud applications. Well, before we look at cloud applications, let's look at a regular PC application, such as Microsoft Word. The example is a user types up a report, and then he saves it to the hard disk. This application, Microsoft Word, only runs on the user's PC, and the report is saved to the hard disk. The user doesn't email it to anybody, so therefore this is not a cloud application. It's just a regular PC application and user application that's installed on the PC. Now, let's look at a cloud application. Whereas a regular PC application is installed on the PC and runs on the PC, a cloud application runs on a cloud server, and we use them all the time and don't even think about it. Perfect example is TurboTax. TurboTax is a program that helps you calculate your taxes, and one way you could do it is you could download the TurboTax CD and install TurboTax on your own computer. So if I downloaded TurboTax and I installed it on this computer right here in front of me, I installed TurboTax on this computer right in front of me, and I started doing my taxes, and I got halfway through and then I stopped, and suppose I went home. If I went home, would TurboTax necessarily be installed on my computer at home, and then could I just pick up and do my taxes there? And the answer is no. If I've installed TurboTax on this computer, then I've installed it on this computer and not on my home computer. But the other way we can do it is on TurboTax's web server. I connect right here, I connect to TurboTax's web server, and I start my taxes, and I get halfway through, and I log out. And then I get home, and I log in again, and I connect to TurboTax's cloud server, and I can finish my taxes online because the program is running on a cloud server. An end user application, the old way to do TurboTax was to purchase the CD and install TurboTax on your own individual PC. But with a cloud-based application, we connect to the TurboTax cloud server and then run our taxes on TurboTax's cloud server. You could be at a Starbucks, and you could connect to TurboTax cloud server and do your taxes. Because unlike a regular end-user application such as Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, TurboTax does not need to be installed on the user's computer, and it's available from any computer which has an internet connection, and this is called a cloud-based application because it runs on a cloud server, not on the individual PC as Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel would be. So that's from the user end. Now let's look at cloud computing for organizations, for large organizations and for small organizations. Let's start out with a large organization such as the Community College of Baltimore County. In our server room, we have an email server, we have a web server, we have an application server, which is the student registration server, and we have a login server. And all of these servers are in our big air-conditioned server room. And we have a staff of 80 employees to install, configure, manage, maintain, update, provide cooling, and to clean the air filters on all of these servers right here. We can afford to have servers on site because we have a staff of specialists, of IT, of information technology specialists to manage and maintain those servers. But now let's look at the challenges of a small organization. Suppose you and I ran our own business, a small men's clothing store. Maybe we only had just 6 employees, and our specialty is selling men's clothing, and we would not have the personnel or the expertise to install a web server on site. We wouldn't have the expertise to install, configure, update, manage, provide cooling, do the updates on an email server or on a web server which was on site. You got a big organization such as CCBC with 80 employees. Yes, you can maintain your server room on site. But you've got a small organization, you're not going to have the personnel, the expertise to maintain an email server and a web server on your own site. So what do? You outsource to the cloud. You use Gmail instead of your own email server. And for your website, you use GoDaddy. Now, GoDaddy is a company, it's a website, and you can put your website on GoDaddy's servers instead of having a web server on your own site. Outsourcing to the cloud means instead of owning their own servers, small companies will outsource. Instead of having an email server on site, they use Gmail. Instead of having a web server on site, they use GoDaddy. This is called outsourcing to the cloud. And the advantage is you do not have to have servers on site. You don't have to have an air-conditioned server room, and you don't have to have specialists to maintain those servers. Now let's look at trends in cloud computing. Well, this isn't happening just to small companies. It's happening to large companies as well. Formerly, large companies maintain their servers on their own site, just as we do here at CCBC. But now, large organizations are putting all of their servers on cloud servers, and this is what Amazon Web Services is. Amazon Web Services is a huge data center, several of them around the country, around the world, which has a large number of servers. And what we can do is we can install not only our web server and our email server, but we can even install our application server, our student registration server, and our login server up on Amazon Web Services servers, so we don't have to have our own server room. Formerly, large organizations maintain their servers on their own site. Now what we see is they are installing their servers up on Amazon Web Services. The big advantage here is you don't have to have servers on site, and you don't have to incur the cost of several thousand or several $100,000 to buy new servers. You just rent the space on Amazon Web Servers. And what this means is that the only equipment required if the customer's site is simply a wireless router which can provide internet connectivity for the users and their laptops, very economical. The only, in your business, the only equipment required at the customer site is simply a wireless router for connectivity. You don't need a server room. There aren't going to be any servers at your location anymore. Why not? Because they're up on Amazon Web Services. Many companies don't have server rooms anymore. They use the servers on Amazon Web Services, and the only thing that they need at their site is to have a wireless router, no data center. Very economical. So that is a summary of cloud computing, trends in cloud computing, and that is people are putting their servers up on Amazon Web Services. Now let's move to the section on careers in cloud computing, very important to our students, and they fall into three main categories: data center, server administration, and end user support. Data center engineers are the people who are responsible for maintaining the large data center servers and the cloud servers in the, for example, Amazon Web Services. They're on site. And then server administrators connect to cloud servers remotely, and they create users and they reset passwords and they install applications. And they might be located at the customer site, but they're connecting remotely to the cloud servers. And then you got the end user support staff. These are the PC technicians who make sure that users' PCs can connect to the wireless router. And of course, the wireless router is necessary to connect to the server room. Now, let's discuss IT credentials, information technology credentials. This guy right here is doing the job of PC support technician. And the PC repair technician certificate, which is called the A+ certification. That's the name of the certification. The A+ certification is the PC repair technician certification. It's a very common certification, and it qualifies the certificate holder to be a PC repair technician and is required by many employers, especially the federal government. If you have this certificate, you are much more marketable. So how do you get certified? You take the class, you study for the exam, you register for the exam, and you take the exam. You take the class at CCBC. The course number is DCOM 141, in case anybody wants to sign for it. And then you register for the exam at Prometric. So they are a commercial testing center, unaffiliated with the community college, and they do all kinds of tests. They do nursing tests, they do certified public accountant tests, and they do IT tests. So you sign up for the A+ certification exam, give them $200, and on the day of the exam, you show up at their testing center, you take the exam online, and then you find out whether or not you passed the exam and you get your certification. To get certified, take the class, study for the exam, register for the exam, and take the exam at a testing center. And that's the A+ certification. There are many IT credentials. They all work pretty much the same way. You take the class and then you register for a testing center. There are many IT credentials, and probably the most well-known one is the A+ one, which qualifies someone to be a PC technician. Then you have other credentials as well. The Network Plus certification enables someone to be a network technician. The Microsoft certification enables someone to be a server administrator. The Cloud Plus certification enables someone to use, manipulate, install, maintain cloud technologies. The Security Plus certification enables one to be a security specialist, what they call a penetration tester. And the VMware certification enables someone to be a data center and cloud server engineer. Having an IT certification will make you more marketable. Having any one of these IT certifications will make you more marketable. Having multiple certifications will make you even more marketable. And this leads to the subject of stackable credentials. Stackable credentials is an accelerated program that allows students to get multiple certifications in 1 year or even in one semester. And the goal is to make the students more marketable. It's to get people in the workforce in one semester or 1 year. There are 4 tracks of stackable credentials in cloud computing, which correspond to the careers in cloud computing: data center, server administration, end user support, and cyber security. Let's look at those tracks. For the data center track, right, so this is the guy who maintains the data center, there are 4 courses and they correspond to 4 certifications. The first course is the network technician course, which we call here DCOM 251, and that qualifies and that corresponds to the Network Plus certificate. The Windows Networking Infrastructure course, and that corresponds to the Microsoft Technical Associate certificate. The Cloud Computing course, which corresponds to the Cloud Plus certificate, and the Virtualization and Data Center Management course, which corresponds to the VMware certification. This track is made up of 4 certifications and it culminates with the VMware certification. And then the second track is the server administration track. The guy who sits at the customer site but who manipulates the servers, which are at Amazon Web Services. The courses he takes are Network Technician, which corresponds to the Network Plus certification. Windows Server Administration, okay, that's like Windows Network Infrastructure, but a little different, and that corresponds to the Microsoft Technical Associate certification. Cloud Computing exam, and the Amazon Web Services certification, and that is what qualifies the server administrator to create and to manage and to configure all the servers located on Amazon Web Services. The server administration track culminates with the Amazon Web Services certification. And then the end user support track was just designed for the technician at the customer site. Has network technician certification. You can see they all have to do that. He takes the latest version of Windows, which right now is Windows 10, and gets the MTA, the Microsoft Technical Associate. So MTA is like there are a couple different MTAs. So you can be Microsoft Technical Associate for Windows 10 or for Windows Server. He would get the end user support track includes Security Plus, and it concludes the PC Repair Technician courses, 2 courses actually, and that corresponds to the A Plus certification. The end user support track culminates with the A Plus certification, which qualifies the person to be the PC Repair on-site technician. And then the 4th track, which doesn't really correspond to any one particular, is the cyber security track. That corresponds, and this is one that we have already successfully run. The other 3 are proposals. That courses are comprise Network Technician, which is the Network Plus certification, the Computer Security, which is Security Plus certification, Operating System Security, the CSCMP certification, and the Ethical Hacking and Defense class, DCOM 215, and that corresponds to the CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. The cybersecurity is made up of 4 different certs, and it corresponds and it culminates with the Certified Ethical Hacker certification. There are 4 tracks for stackable credentials in cloud computer: data center, server, user support, and cybersecurity. And there are 4 courses per track. And these courses count toward college credit. So these courses can be taken in conjunction with an associate's degree. People can take them non-credit if they want, but we encourage them to take them credit because they're doubling their money. They're killing two birds with one stone. Not only are they earning a college credit, but they're also working toward a professional certification. And the purpose of Stackable Credentials is to get people in the workforce in a minimum amount of time. In summary, in this section, we looked at what is cloud computing, and we saw that organizations are putting their servers up on Amazon Web Servers. We saw that careers in cloud computing include data center, server administration, and user support. And Stackable Credentials include the VMware VCP certification, VMware Certified Professional, the Amazon Web Services certification, the A+, that is to say PC Repair Technician certification, and the Certified Ethical Hacker certification. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and have a nice day.